Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Matt and John Make a Podcast. My name is John,
And I'm Matt.
and we had a very successful week one edition. I felt of the podcast there, Matt.
Yeah, we got some views. I mean, it's going to be a slow and steady process, but so far positive reviews.
Yes. In that first episode, we covered AEW's TV deal. We covered everything that went on with Comic-Con and some other current events. Matt and I, we will be posting the link of that podcast in the description below. For this week, we're going to be talking a little bit more about sports, about the baseball trading deadline. We're going to be talking about some NFL stuff and some MMA.
So as of this recording, the deadline was today at 4 p.m. And in regards of the winner, I think the Astros won with the acquisition of Zach Greinke. What do you think?
Absolutely. Now that Houston Astros rotation gets even more stacked, now you add Justin Verlander along with former Pirate Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and man, like you just have to be really envious of any Houston Astros fans, and because that organization just always looks to add to get their team better, and boy, this was a statement.
They gave up a couple of their top 5 prospects to get that, so they're serious in winning. Looking on baseballreference.com, playoff odds on since yesterday, the 30th of July. The Astros were the favorite to make the postseason, and basically 100% at 99.9%, and the second place to win the World Series at 20.3, just behind Dodgers at 24.3. I'm gonna have to assume that is going up after today.
And this will kind of move into who I feel were the biggest losers. That was definitely the LA Dodgers, in my opinion. They had some major bullpen needs, and the fact that they couldn't get either Felipe Vasquez or Shane Green was, I feel, a really big missed opportunity. I know some or to be quite frank, a lot of Dodger fans have to be very angry right now because they have seen teams such as Atlanta, Houston obviously really improve their chances in winning a World Series. So you gotta kind of wonder like yes, it's really awesome to covet these really important prospects.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to actually win a World Series, I just gotta kind of wonder what the Dodgers were actually thinking here, because they really needed a Felipe Vasquez or a Shane Green. Just their refusal to give up. Who were the guys who they just did not want to give up? Was it Garrett Lux?
Lux
Will
was one.
Smith, and some other guys, but
yeah, I don't have their names right here.
But I mean, to me, they were by far the biggest loser, just because they didn't really address by far their biggest need on their team right now.
I think they did get a relief pitcher.
They did.
I think he had an ERA in the 3s,
which isn't terrible, but
yeah, but
it's it's not really what they exactly needed. Like to me, they needed more of that impact guy. Whereas I believe Atlanta acquired two different pitchers and I believe now they
Atlanta Shane Green.
Yep, Shane Green, and they acquired someone else too. But
I'm looking.
Yeah, but I also read though they
Mike Leake.
Okay, or no
that's Arizona.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
My bad.
Yeah, I thought so. But I read now they have three separate guys who now have closing experience, which is just going to be huge.
Mark Melanson.
Yep.
Former Pirates closer.
Yep. Former Pirates closer there. So, Atlanta now they have a fairly good starting staff and now a really good bullpen. Now they're going to be a very dangerous team. Going into August, going into September.
Dodgers got Jed Jerko from St. Louis to get some infield depth.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just depth. But there's nothing that would be just a solid that jumps out at you. Another race that was big was the Central.
Mm-hmm.
And the National League. It's a close race. The top three teams are within two.
I have to ask, though, why did Cincinnati acquire Trevor Bauer from the Cleveland Indians? That
try to get some pitching depth
between that and with the New York Mets acquiring Marcus Stroman, those two trades made absolutely zero sense to me. How would you feel about that, Matt?
Yeah, the Reds. I don't know how I feel about them because even though they're in it, I just feel they're. Let me look at the standings right now. I forget how far out.
I want to say they're at least 5 games out.
They are 7.5 games behind in the division.
Yeah. Okay, that's what.
Wild card. They are 6.5 back. So they have a shot at the wild card, but technically, they have to jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams.
It's a lot of teams to try and to jump
and
over there.
I would have to assume they are doing this maybe for the long term for next year. They get the pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Is Trevor Bauer on an expiring contract, by the way?
Let me look. I don't have that. But the puzzling thing is St. Louis is leading the division. Yep. Really didn't do anything. They made Cubs. They got Nick Castellanos.
Yep.
I probably butchered the name. I'm
former Detroit Tiger.
That's like the biggest move. Milwaukee got rid of Aguilar.
I did not understand them acquiring Jordan Lyles. Like I mean, like their starting pitching is really struggling right now, and I mean, like Lyles has been awful for the Pirates ever since late May. Like he had that just amazing, fantastic start for about a month and a half, but ever since I believe it was like May 23rd, like he's just been horrendous.
Jordan Lyles last year with the Padres. I saw this video. I didn't know this at the time, a couple weeks ago, but he was maybe an out or two away from a perfect game.
Wow.
For San Diego. I watched the highlights. He had the stuff, and he got signed here in Pittsburgh. He came out. He started. He was really good in the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. It's
like, oh, this big cheap signing could pay off, and then he just fell off the face of the earth in terms of pitching.
Yep.
Like the rest of the Pirates staff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not him. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. I'm just worried, just with the luck of the Pirates, that he'll go to Milwaukee and he'll just turn into what he did in 2018 with the Padres.
Will not surprise me in the
And
least.
that's going to be unfortunate. But to get back to Trevor Bauer, his contract status, he signed through this year, making $13 million. So he's arbitration eligible in 2020 and a free agent 2021.
Yep.
So it is a rental player, essentially, for a couple months. And they're really not out. Cincinnati's pretty much out of it.
Yeah.
So unless they plan on signing him, I don't understand why you do this. Get rid of Puig.
Yep.
What was Puig's contract? Was he out after this year? I gotta look too.
I'm not exactly sure, but like he's now like he was with LA for ever since that he came up in major leagues, but he's now bounced to another team. Not exactly surprising that Cincinnati moved on from him, just because I never really felt that Cincinnati was ever going to be a contending team but judge on the moves that they made in the offseason. You would have thought that hey, they were trying to go in and win something.
He signed through this year for $9.7 million.
Okay.
Free agent next year.
Okay.
So, see, that doesn't make any unless I'm missing something. You trade away a person who's going to be free agent.
Yep.
Let's just say rent a player from this point on. And Puig, not a rental player, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
To get a pitcher for a rental. Yep. For a race that's pretty much a three-team race. Yeah, and then nobody in the division really did anything. Maybe the Cubs were the winner if you look at three.
No one
and
really.
St. Louis didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah, like no one really separated themselves.
They got one pitcher, a relief pitcher, I believe. St. Louis did, and just reading the mentions on Twitter under St. Louis's Twitter account was hilarious. Everybody was blaming ownership. Yep. So nobody stepped out of the Central.
No, to me, I mean, I can't honestly say that I'm confident in picking any one of those three teams, individually who will win that NL Central there. As you said, just some really minor moves.
This deadline up until after the 4:00 deadline
was pretty dead to be honest.
Nothing noteworthy. No. But St. Louis, they got a left-handed pitcher, Tony Cingrani, and minor league right-handed pitcher Jeffrey Abreu from the Dodgers.
The only entertaining thing was a hilarious tweet from Ken Rosenthal when he was talking about the Pirates and the Dodgers trade negotiations with Felipe Vasquez. They are engaged in a staring contest.
Pretty much
to see who will blink first, and it turned out no one blinked, and I mean, I never really expected Vasquez to get dealt. I just
unless Dodgers were desperate.
Yeah, which I thought might could have happened, especially after Shane Green got traded to Atlanta. I was like, well, if they don't get Vasquez here, they might strike out here, which they pretty much did. Outside of the reliever that they got late at the 4:00 deadline, they really didn't, and outside of Jed Jericho, they really did not add anything to their team to make them better. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, I don't know how you as a Dodger fan or just even as a casual fan, can confidently say that the LA Dodgers are going to win the World Series just based off of their past history.
Right. I mean, money can get you all the players that you want, but doesn't guarantee a championship.
Nope.
I mean, it can guarantee you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. The Dodgers, I'm never confident in them winning it all. They can get to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's like when the moment is absolutely at its height, like they have proven over and over again, it's either 1 or 2 innings where they just completely just, whether it's like freeze or whatever, or just have one really bad inning, and it's the absolute difference in those games, which are absolutely crucial. And just them not adding what they really needed in that bullpen, I feel is probably going to cost them.
I feel like
World Series.
Yeah, I feel like even though the pressure is on the Dodgers to win, I feel like it's back on Houston. You make all these trades.
Oh, absolutely.
You have a starting pitching of 4. Do they have Miley? I can't. Oh my God,
I can't remember. But as far as it goes with Houston, they are definitely now in win now. But I do wonder though that with the acquisition of Zach Greinke, if that means that Garrett Cole probably isn't coming back to Houston after this season. So like that's definitely going to be, he's definitely is going to be probably the one of the bigger free agents this off season, and
he's gonna get paid.
He's gonna get paid. I'm just not exactly sure where. I mean, obviously, LA, I feel it will be really interested in him. He's from, I believe he is from California, somewhere out in California. I mean, just based off of that, he's going to demand probably that 8-year, 7-year deal, where he's gonna be asked to get paid $25 to $30 million per season.
They had Verlander, Wade Miley, Cole, and Greinke now.
Yep.
Rounding out the top 4.
And it should also be talked about that I believe Arizona is paying $24 million of that. Of that $77 million left on his contract.
Yeah, so it was a hell of a trade for Houston.
I mean, a great get for the Houston Astros and the team in Arizona. It's a little of a down season, and they replenished their farm system. So I mean, it's when you are trading away these really big trade pieces, you want to get good assets back. You want to do the exact opposite of what the Pirates did with Chris Archer last year, which is they gave up Tyler Glasnow, they gave up Austin Meadows, who was in the All-Star game this year, and another promising pitcher in Shane Baz, who's tearing it up now in their system. So yeah, so that's just whatever Neil Huntington did, do the opposite of what he does.
I'm just going to go through some of the trades here, and if you want to jump in, feel free.
Will do.
We got the Braves and the Giants. Braves get Mark Melancon from the Giants, and the Giants get pitcher Dan Winkler and pitcher Tristan Beck from the Braves. Braves shoring up the back of the bullpen, which is good. San Diego Padres get pitcher Carl Edwards Jr. in return and then the Cubs get Brad Week, left-handed pitcher. And then Arizona gets Mike Leake And Seattle Mariners get infielder Jose Caballero. I'm butchering these names. A notable trade, the Cubs get Nicholas Castellanos, or outfielder, excuse me. And Detroit gets right-handed pitcher Alex Lang, right-handed pitcher Paul Richan.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota Twins get right-handed pitcher Sam Dyson, and Giants get a pair of right-handed pitchers. And Cincinnati sends Scooter Gennett to the Giants, second baseman, and in return, cash considerations. I don't think anything big for the Reds. They're probably just trying to get some space.
Some salary shedded off there.
And see what happens in the offseason.
Yeah.
That's going to be the big thing, I think, for the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
They did get the pitcher. If they sign him, they get Bauer.
Yeah.
What do they do in free agency? That's the big thing for the Reds.
Yeah, if they even do anything, but just judging off of what they did last offseason, you never really know.
Right.
Staying on the topic of the Reds, that melee between them and the Pirates last night. Good Lord, like I did not see any of the game. I just saw it on social media. I'm like, what could have possibly have happened here? And like I believe the relief pitcher was Amir Garrett, right?
Yeah. I think before that, Keone Kela.
Yeah. He threw up to
Dietrich.
Yeah, to Dietrich. And even before that, Dave Bell, who is the Cincinnati manager, he got thrown out.
Arguing a strike call, okay. Which was borderline. Probably, I think it was. I forget if he was left-handed or right-handed.
Yeah.
Up and in, and so he argued that he was livid about that. He got thrown out.
Yeah.
Kela threw pretty much near the head of Dietrich.
Yep.
If he did that on his own, that's
which supposedly that is exactly what happened.
That story. That's stupid.
Because if you heard his comments after the game, he pretty much said, "I was just protecting my teammates." So that's exactly what happened there.
I just don't think you.
And also
didn't that already getting taken care of earlier in the season?
But also if you heard Trevor Williams, he was not happy at all that Keone Kela did that because he, when he was asked, he said, I do not blame them for retaliating. Yeah. So pretty much he didn't really back up Keone Kela in regards with that there.
I hate the whole notion that if somebody hits you, if the other team hits you, yeah. That to retaliate, you hit them back because you're giving them a free base.
Yep.
Pretty much a walk.
Yep.
And let's just say they hit a home run, the next batter hits a home run, or a rally starts. Mm-hmm. That's you gave up a run. You just screwed yourself over just because you want revenge. The best revenge is striking the guy out, making him look silly. Those I hate those unwritten rules.
Yeah, and it's
stupid.
It's one of the reasons why Major League Baseball is really struggling in popularity behind the NFL and the NBA right now is in part because of those stupid rules there, But getting back through this here, so basically what happened was Garrett charges pretty much the whole entire Pirates team, takes a swing at Trevor Williams, misses badly. Mm-hmm. Eventually Dave Bell comes back, and all you see is Pirates hitting coach Rick Eckstein just
on top of him,
just just
trying to beat him senseless.
Yep. And
I don't think he did anything.
No.
But he got cut X time.
Yep.
And I think Hurdle was in there. I saw a picture of the day that he was
there.
like on the ground. I think he was like in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. And then he got out, and the best thing, Hurt was in the back. He's talking, and Bell is just screaming, spit coming out, just at him.
Yeah.
And that was the craziest scene. And
too, like after
Puig
the
being
game,
Puig
yeah,
in there,
yeah.
Hilarious.
And two, after the game, this was extremely telling to me. Like, I am really questioning, like does Cincinnati's manager Dave Bell have the psychological psychological mentality to be a big league manager? He was on the verge of tears, in his post game press conference talking about this. I mean, excuse me, Dave Bell. Teams are going to pitch inside.
I don't understand.
It's part of the game. Deal with it.
I don't understand pitching. The thing about pitching inside, like, what's the difference if you're pitching inside or pitching outside? If you pitch inside, yes, you have a higher chance of hitting people.
But it's part of the game. And
nobody, I don't believe anybody, about maybe 99% of the people, the pitchers,
yep.
If they hit somebody, if they're pitching inside, it's not on purpose. I think it's like stupid to hit somebody on purpose.
Yep.
Maybe with the exception, maybe Kella did something, even though he didn't hit him.
Yeah.
But he threw it on purpose. And it's going to happen. You're going to get hit. The bad thing there, to play devil's advocate, is maybe you injure a person if you hit it in their hand or wrist, but I don't feel like it happens that often enough. It
doesn't. And two, he was bringing how the Pirates constantly target them. Whereas if we look at the stats, the Cincinnati Reds have actually hit more Pirates than
or pitch inside just as much.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and same thing with Chicago too, because if you recall a month or so ago, Joe Madden lost his ever living mind because hey, the Pirates pitch inside, and there was a stat that like of the top 3 teams who pitch inside, Cincinnati.
Cubs are up there.
Yeah. I believe Cincinnati is like 3rd or possibly 4th in that category.
I'm gonna look that up as we talk.
So it's just like these freaking old heads need to get over these stupid unwritten rules that are just killing the game of baseball because so many of these guys are getting pud hurt that guys are pitching inside. When you pitch inside, there's always that possibility that you're going to get hit, but pitchers always want to pitch inside to get that inside corner. It's been that way for generations.
If you don't, then you're pitching over the plate.
Exactly.
Whatever it's pitching. It's an art. Like if you get hit, you get hit. If you get hurt, I mean that's unfortunate. But like, I don't know.
You can also get hurt. Fielding, running, to like, it's just when you play sports, there's always that chance you're going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, when these pitchers are throwing 90 to 100 miles per hour, there's always that chance. Get over it.
Mm-hmm. Going through a couple more trades. The big one, Houston gets Greinke. Arizona gets first baseman outfielder Seth Beer, pitcher J.B. Bukakis, pitcher Corbin Martin, and infielder outfielder Josh Rojas. Even though Arizona gave up a good pitcher, I think they get a couple good prospects that could help them in the future. Mm-hmm. Highly rated prospects from Houston. I think Arizona was in a tough spot because they're kind of in no man's land when it comes to.
Which honestly, I think they probably made the right decision, because they're kind of in like no man's land, and and they went to a decision and they made it, and now I feel like they are going to look like a better team with more depth because now you are no longer paying that huge contract of Zach Greinke's, and you also have your farm system is definitely deeper after today.
Yeah, and they're only 3 back of the wild card. They're sitting at 54 and 54.
Yeah.
So the Giants and Milwaukee, Philly, the Cubs and the Nationals are above them.
Yeah.
With the Nationals being in first wild card, half game ahead of the Cubs, and Phillies tied for the second wild card at 56 and 50. Say any more notable trades. Atlanta get Shane Green.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, right now it's TBD as of this recording. Phillies get Corey Dickerson from the Pirates. In return, they get, I believe, international slot money, and a player to be named later.
I believe it was 200 or 200.
I think 200,000.
Yeah.
And a player to be named.
Yeah.
Corey, seeing on Twitter, Corey Dickerson, who replaced McCutchen and Pittsburgh, is now replacing McCutchen and Philadelphia.
Small world.
Different situation because McCutchen, unfortunately, is out for the season with an injury.
With a torn
ACL. So that's good depth for Philadelphia. Nationals get Daniel Hudson, Rahenis Elias, or I'm butchering this, and Hunter Strickland. Toronto gets Kyle Johnson, and Seattle gets Aaron Fletcher, pitcher, Elvis Alvarado, a pitcher, and Taylor Gilbu. I'm butchering this, another pitcher. So 3-team trade. Cubs get infielder, outfielder Tony Kemp, and Houston gets back Martin Maldonado. I butchered that. I believe he was a former Houston Astro. And I believe that's the noteworthy trades today.
Yep, that was pretty much it there.
And again, I'm sorry if I butchered all the names.
You
Probably
butchered
a lot of them.
A lot of them, buddy.
I don't care. No, they're not watching this. Anything else you want to talk about in baseball deadline?
Nope. I think we've covered everything that we needed to, man.
Another thing going on in sports at the same time, we have NFL training camp going on.
Yep.
And there's a couple storylines that you wanted to go over.
Yeah. Obviously, the most recent storyline was New Orleans Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas signing a mega contract extension, 5 years, $100 million with $60 million $61 million of that guaranteed.
Must be nice.
To be a fly on a wall when Antonio Brown saw those numbers, I would be laughing my ass off. Because now, the only other wide receiver who had more guaranteed dollars was Odell Beckham Jr. when he got a contract extension. I believe it was last season, and he got $65 million guaranteed. Who is now with Cleveland. So now as currently the top 5 most highest paid wide receivers are now Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, and DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
But Evans, Beckham, and now Thomas, they are by themselves making at least $50 million guaranteed. Also, there was Brandon Cooks of the LA Rams. He got $50 million guaranteed. And DeAndre Hopkins, he got $49 million guaranteed. So a lot of cash is being thrown around here, and now with this definitely affects with the Dallas Cowboys in their contract negotiations with Amari Cooper, and eventually it's also going to affect the Steelers with Juju, whose his contract is up, I believe, after next season. So those are definitely are going to be setting up for those future deals there. So so congratulations to Michael Thomas. He now ends his holdout. And I'm sure that's going to be making many Saints fans very, very happy. Many future fantasy owners very, very happy. So now the other two holdouts currently are Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott and LA Chargers running back Melvin Gordon. Now with these holdouts here, I'm not sure when either of these guys are going to be showing up into camp. Zeke seems very, very firm, and it looks to be getting pretty ugly there. I'm not exactly sure how well that both Steven and Jerry Jones are going to be receptive of this, because too they also need to also do contract extensions for both Amari Cooper and Dallas and the Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of decisions to be made, and especially with Melvin Gordon, I don't see that ending well at all, just based off of the Chargers' history. Going back to when Phil Rivers was a rookie, I believe he held out going into the season, if my memory serves me correct. Joey Bosa missed a lot of camp. I'm not sure if his holdout went into the season as a rookie, but this is definitely nothing new, and based off of the reports, there doesn't seem to be any sort of motivation on the Chargers' part to even entertain contract negotiations. So I personally feel that with Melvin Gordon, he's overplayed his hand, and he's trying to play hardball with the absolute wrong people. So I'm always going to be siding with players and getting their cash and all, but I also feel too you need to be a little bit realistic too, because I believe for every day that both Zeke and Gordon do not show up, that they get fined, I believe, at least $250,000 per day. So
I think players they make a lot of money, and deservedly so. But I think it's just like in the NFL. It's always the NFL players have to hold out for more money because the millions of dollars they're making is just not enough. It's an ego problem. Yeah.
Well, and also too, it's a collective bargaining issue too, because too, a lot of these NFL players see how much money that players in the NBA are currently making, and they're like,
NBA is another story,
but they're a completely different story, smaller roster sizes, and just a completely different pay structure, but they see how much revenue every single year that the NFL makes from their TV contracts and their sponsors and everything. I mean, I perfectly get it, but but it's definitely something that's going to be coming up with the collective bargaining negotiations. I definitely feel that absolutely one thing that for the player side, they need to get rid of that stupid franchise tag, like, because to me that does absolutely nothing for them. It gives so much leverage for the ownership, whereas I feel like if there was no franchise tag, there would be so much more leverage for the players, because then because then they could just walk. But I also feel if that does happen, that's going to be very interesting, because now I think you're going to be seeing things more similar with the NBA, as the guys are not going to re-sign as soon.
The NBA makes me mad, because it's just like the players are taking over and they're like making decisions like, yeah, you come play with me, you here, blah blah blah, and then I think the owners lost it. I think
absolutely. I mean, like,
it's almost getting to that, like in the NFL.
Yeah, and two, like, it's really affected competitive balance, because outside of probably this season, this is probably the first upcoming season where I don't know who's going to win the NBA title. Mm-hmm. Like, there are probably a good argument 5 to 6 really good teams, whereas in the past it was one, maybe 2 teams tops.
Yeah,
3
and
if you're lucky, but
like nobody. And I don't even want to say casual NBA fan, but casual, because I really don't watch it. Like, you only know a couple teams, like there's Utah Jazz. Nobody cares about the Utah Jazz.
On a like national landscape, yeah.
Yeah, there's no superstars there. Like, if you ask me, name somebody on the Jazz, I would be like, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I watch it more, but like,
it's too top heavy to NBA.
Oh yeah, it absolutely. But it's also very star. It's also very star driven too.
Right.
Whereas, like, because into with like basketball, it's such a vastly different sport from like football, where as like football, that is a team game. Like to me, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 really great players. Like, you need those other 20 guys to be on the same page.
Yeah, I just think in NFL, for example, there's more stars around the league that people know, even in teams that are not doing well that particular season. There's still notable people. I think same thing with baseball. Mm-hmm. Same thing even with hockey to a certain extent. If you're into those sports, like hockey, I know it more because we have a team here, and we're fans of the Penguins.
Yep.
But people around the league of different teams, maybe not stars to the extent that the NBA has stars. That, again, top heavy, but it's more well known. Yeah. The NBA is just like player controlled.
Yep.
And like
they have all of the power. They have all of the leverage.
Free agency and trade, like it's almost more drama than it is. But in the same respect, that's what gets people interested.
That's why they are constantly. That's why they're constantly generating revenue and are the clear number 2, as far as a sport goes in the United States. It's really not even close right now. But I do not buy this at all. That, I mean, like, there's so many fans out there who think, the NBA is clearly better, or is clearly a better business right now than the NFL, which couldn't be any further from the truth. You just look at the Super Bowl's ratings and look at the NBA Finals ratings. The NFL kicks the NBA's ass, like and even look at just like regular season games. Like I recall when the Steelers faced the Cowboys was 2 or 3 seasons ago. It was CBS's highest rating in the years. Like, I mean, like, you don't have to agree with everything that is going on with the NFL and like how they handle player misconduct and everything, but like, that is by far in the clear number one sport in this country, and that's not going to be anytime soon. Just because every Sunday from September till
February
till pretty much February, people are watching football. It's is tradition. I know
Sunday night game, Monday night game, even Thursday nights.
Exactly, and I know for me personally, my family are diehard Steeler fans. We just that is the way that it has always been, and that is not to say that the NBA is not a business model. It's just they are never are going to be able to close that gap. I mean, even with the heightened awareness of like CTE and concussions, it's such a popular sport. It's ingrained in into American society that it's going to be really hard to supersede them.
The NFL would have to just shut down completely somehow for the NBA to anybody to take it over.
There would have to be so many more scandals that would need to happen. Like it would take. I mean, the fact that this league is still going after the whole thing with the concussion lawsuits and everything, and how the NFL withhold information about football causing CTE and concussions, and they're still doing by far the best business that they've ever done. It's
People
not going
still watch.
Exactly. It's not going anywhere. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about are the Cleveland Browns right now. They're getting a whole ton of hype right now. I personally feel that we are jumping the gun a little bit with these guys, just because Baker Mayfield is just a second-year quarterback, and they have a first-year head coach. But I am not discounting their talent.
I believe they have good talent. They got some talent in the last couple years.
Yep.
I think they could be in the mix.
Yep.
Maybe early on. I think they could just stay in there.
Yep.
They're going to be competitive. Usually against the Steelers, at least years ago, we would look at the schedule as Steeler fans and be like, okay, that should be 2 wins right there.
Yep.
And now not so much.
And Big Ben has owned them.
Yes, completely
owned them ever since he has been drafted.
He's lost 2.
Yeah, he's
in Ohio.
He has lost 2 games
overall.
Yeah, he's lost 2 games in Ohio since he has been drafted, which is one of the more incredible stats. But with Cleveland, they have a really good defense. They have playmakers everywhere with Odell Beckham Jr., with Jarvis Landry, with Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb.
There's names.
There is definitely names, but also the problem is there is only one football, and as we saw with the Steelers last year and in years past, that those are a lot of egos to try and a manager, and it got to the point where it was impossible to control that. And I have my doubts that a first year head coach and Freddie Kitchens can kind of deal with all of that. That like I have to actually see that in order to be confident about
How many wins do you think they get?
Who
The Browns.
I'm gonna say 9. I'm gonna say they go.
That's reasonable. I can't. Yeah.
I'm gonna say that they go 9-7. I am more interested to see how this team is going to react to any sort of adversity, like
Injuries,
or you name it. Like if they go say like 1-3 or 2-4, like how are they going to react? Like, because just based off of Odell's past, like he's a very unpredictable personality. He's a great football player, but man, like there are times where like he will just absolutely lose it under the most unique circumstances.
I think 9 is not out of the realm of possibility.
No. And two, I think a lot of people are counting out the Steelers, and I don't know why. Like, it's like with like Tomlin and like Big Ben are just no longer there apparently because
I think
like last time I checked, Tomlin has not had a
losing record,
losing record, and last I checked, Big Ben and the Steelers organization overall, they have. There is one thing they have always done. They have developed wide receivers and running backs. Look at Adam James Conner last year. Like, everyone was just saying, there is like no way that they will replace Le'Veon, which is completely true. But he's still a very effective running back.
I never got the hate, or not even the hate, the negative about Connor, like playing like he was not capable. I mean, at Pitt he was just tearing it up. I don't see why he can't do it with the Steelers, just because he's not a Le'Veon Bell being that patient
and like who is, I mean,
like Bell's like that generational talent, just unique talent. But like Connor did not do bad. He was doing, at least in the first half, if I remember correctly, some of his
hurt. If he didn't get hurt, because I believe he missed 3 games down the stretch, which I think if he plays all 3 of those games, he probably has around 1,200 yards rushing, which would have been really, really, really good there.
And at points in the season, he was doing statistically better in most areas than Bell was at certain points, the same points in the season.
And another thing that cannot be discounted, that offensive line of the Steelers is still really, really good. Yes, he lost Marcus Gilbert, but he was out except for 4 games last year. So, like, what are they really missing? Because too, he has been hurt constantly the last 3 and 4 and 5 seasons. He was always an injury risk. So, and yes, they lost, in my opinion, by far her best her best coach in like Mike Munchak, who is now the offensive line coach over with the Denver Broncos. But like, that is still a really good group. Future Hall of Famers in like a Pouncey and David D. Castro. So I mean, barring injury, I mean, and yes, I'm probably a little bit biased here, but I think that the Steelers should still be the favorites in this division here.
If they're not the favorites, I think they're in the mix by far.
And
it's going to be, they're competitive. They're not out of it.
I think with the Steelers defense, with them getting Devin Bush in at the 10th pick was so huge because now they finally have someone who can take Ryan Shazier's place. They have someone who is an insane athlete who can cover tight ends, who can cover running backs. They completely lost that when Shazier went down with that devastating injury.
And the defense to me is still the bigger question.
Yep, absolutely.
Going this season, if they play well, I believe.
If this defense takes another step, they will be a great team this year. Because to me, if guys like T.J. Watt, Devin Bush, if you get anything out of Bud Dupree, and obviously you have guys such as like Joe Hayden, and Cam Hayward into it. The biggest question on this defense is definitely at their safeties.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the least confident I am with to be perfectly honest with the whole entire team. It's just like they have gotten no consistent play out of that group. Quite frankly, since Paul Malu and Ryan Clark left, it's been rough. Like there's I can't tell you how many times there were just constant miscommunication issues. Just like simple things that just drove me
and everyone else
insane. Like it was just the same mistakes every single week. And everyone wants to constantly pin that on Tomlin, but they also need to be holding some of these players accountable too.
Mm-hmm. Tomlin doesn't miss those tackles or catches or
exactly.
You can.
I think you can
teach all you want, but if you don't,
exactly.
Maybe some coaches if the communication, but again, players have to communicate and have to know the situation.
Yeah, and
maybe make the right defensive schemes. It's a whole thing. It can't just blame. It's easy to scapegoat the coach. And Tomlin has you can criticize Tomlin for different things too, but like everybody, sometimes he gets the unfair thing there. Sometimes he just gets. Yeah. It's easy to blame the coach and not the players, even though we blame the players a lot. Yeah. Real quick, do you think Steelers win the division?
I do. I'm gonna say that they go 11-5 this year.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna be different and say Baltimore wins the division, not by much, maybe a game. Steelers second. Browns.
I can't really put
Cincinnati.
Baltimore there just because of strictly of their quarterback play. Like that to me, in order for the Baltimore Ravens to truly be competitive, Lamar Jackson needs to take that next step because his style of play, he's not going to even make it through
I don't know.
The whole season.
That's true. I just don't. I'm only saying that almost to be different, but the defense for the Steelers, I'm still unsure.
Yep.
Does Juju take the next step? The other wide receivers take the next step,
which I
believe they could.
I think. Well, that is by far the one position on that team where I will not question those guys will get better. It's just for the past 10 years now, the Steelers have consistently scouted, drafted, and developed wide receivers.
And Roethlisberger gets better, not throw as much interceptions. But I still trust him to make those wide receivers look good.
Yep.
If he's on, he's on.
And with the Baltimore Ravens, yes, they signed Earl Thomas, but they also lost, I believe, 5 starters on their defense. So I'm interested to see how they're going to fill losing guys such as C.J. Mosley, who signed a mega contract with the New York Jets. But it's all going to come down to their quarterback. If he
takes the next step.
If he does, then there's definitely is a chance. I just don't believe that is coming.
Regardless, obviously I want the Steelers to win. I still think maybe it's going to be close. It's going to be competitive, like it always is between those two.
Oh yeah,
so those two games are going to be
they
are going to make a break.
Always toss-ups because you really never know.
Every year, anything can happen.
It's every single year.
Mm-hmm. What do we have next? The Raiders on Hard Knocks.
That is must-see TV right there, man. You have Antonio Brown, you have Vontaze Burfict, you have Richie Incognito, and you have John Gruden, man. Like, if there's ever a reason to watch,
that's probably going to be the highest season rated season.
It's going to be glorious. I've
never watched it. I might have to watch it now.
I mean, if there is one season for you to watch, it's definitely this season. Just so many egos and like, my God, HBO must be salivating at this because the absolute one team that has that many personalities. Like, the only other team that was probably a more perfect fit would probably be with the Cleveland Browns right now. And they were on it last season. So that was just, oh man, I cannot wait. That is just going to be such a entertaining watch.
It would be good to see behind the scenes. We've seen a little bit. Is moving on to the UFC is Chris Cyborg and Dana White and the contract negotiations.
Yep.
You're more in depth with UFC than I am. I'm getting more into it, but you told me about this story. Yep. I really didn't hear about it, but I read it today earlier and got more in depth with it. That's a hell of a story.
It's a very personal vendetta that both with Cyborg and Dana White. This has always been a very tumultuous relationship. UFC have never really fully embraced her.
Mm-hmm.
She has dominated everyone except for Amanda Nunes. There has been things in the past where Cyborg has been called a transvestite by Dana. Joe Rogan has called her a man, and just really just
saying that she had a male member.
Yeah. And another thing with Joe, and I'm a huge Rogan fan, and it really pains me to say this, but I feel like he had a personal vendetta against Chris Cyborg in our fight last weekend against, I believe it was against Felicia Spencer. That whole entire fight, Rogan was throwing out this narrative of how tough Felicia Spencer was, and Chris Cyborg was getting tired. Joe, I'm not exactly sure which fight that you were watching, but Chris Cyborg was beating the hell out of this woman for 3 straight rounds. I believe actually that she got at least 10-8 rounds. I just don't understand with this company, with her, why they just don't embrace her. And I mean, I think it strictly comes down to how she looks, because
where she's from, how she sounds.
Because
if this was Rhonda, which back in the day it was
her,
they marketed her like crazy.
Exactly.
She's a star.
Misha Tate, Paige Van Zandt, you have to. It's sort of similar with the WWE. You have to look a certain way, and because they don't see Cyborg as like a marketable, which I couldn't be further from the truth because
she's dominant.
She knocks women out. Like she dominates them. Like the only outside of probably Holly Holm, like she has never been in a real competitive fight. And like I have believed for years that if Cyborg ever did fight Ronda, she would have made Ronda's life hell. Like exactly what Amanda Nunes did to what Amanda Nunes did to Ronda is exactly what Cyborg would have done, except that it like might have been a little bit more violent.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel so sorry for Cyborg because she definitely deserves better. But at the same time too, she is hard to actually work with because there have been stories of her just like the amount of demands that she wants. But I feel it's just like her and Dana White they just don't coexist.
Branding her, making her the top woman in UFC.
Yep.
To me, that's like easy money, easy eyes on the product, because everybody bought pay-per-views with Ronda fight. When Ronda fought,
mm-hmm.
you watched.
Yep.
When there's other names I'm thinking of.
George St. Pierre, obviously Connor.
McGregor. How did that slip my mind?
Lesnar.
But Cormier.
Yep.
Those are your headliners. They market them.
Yep.
And people watch. When you decide, do you want to buy the pay-per-view? You spend $60, $65. You look at the card and I want to see that fight.
Yep.
And they market the hell out of it, and they get the money.
Yep.
But Cyborg, she's another one that I want to see because it's either she's going to destroy somebody, or depending on who the person is, could that person defeat her? Would it be competitive? How is it gonna work out?
And to this point, outside of Holy Home, no one has been able to accept Cyborg's power. Like Cyborg has just marched. She has just marched right down and just beat the hell out of everyone. Mm-hmm. But now she finally ran into someone who is just as technical and just as good and has a very powerful chin. Now, like she was finally up against someone who was now on her level. So, and what doesn't make any more sense to me is there is no bigger women's fight right now in the UFC other than Amanda versus Cyborg 2. Like that's a pay-per-view
Prince money
event right there.
Prince money.
And the fact that both Dana and Cyborg cannot get on the same page is infuriating.
Yep.
Although Dana's saying that Cyborg does not want this fight is ludicrous to me. Like Cyborg is a fighter. This is strictly a contract and just a personal relationship that it is just it's been like building for years.
She said the minimum offer was 6 fights, from what I'm reading here, and then they put her in 1 fight a year, like, and she was wondering who does she fight after Amanda.
Yep.
She would like it maybe like a 1 fight deal just for the rematch, and she's out, then she'd be fine. But it doesn't look like
because
that might happen.
No, because front row Brian, who is big, who also breaks stories, he has said even if they do a 1 fight deal, that contract auto extends for I believe 3 more fights. So it's not truly a
1 fight deal. Okay,
a 1 fight deal.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Neither did I either. So Like it's just, I mean, I think this whole thing is completely destined where Cyborg is not going to be re-signed with the UFC, and I fully expect that with Scott Coker is going to be calling her as soon as she is free. And Cyborg has also stated that she wants to get into boxing and also possibly into professional wrestling as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, she has options out there, which I think it's probably best for both parties. And if you listen to either Ariel or Brett Okamoto, they all have the sense where, like, this is heading towards an end here. Just there's just too many fences that have been broken at this point.
I just thought of it. Imagine if somehow she goes the professional wrestling route, goes to WWE.
Yep.
Gets paid. Would they make a Cyborg versus Ronda match?
I don't think so. Mainly because if you know the whole entire history with those two, Ronda has never been very fond of Cyborg. Like, in my opinion,
would she be able to put that aside for a match?
I would be highly skeptical of that, just because like, there's always been a sort of a strange thing with those two, and they've never really connected. And yeah, it's a looking worked environment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure that the stars would ever align there, but a dream match. Yeah, but the thing that I think that is going to really hurt Cyborg is just her inability to actually talk on the microphone is going to be a really big hurdle.
If she gets in the, let's just say she gets into professional wrestling,
she's going to
she gets a mouthpiece. The mouthpiece, the talker, and then all she has to do, she's like be the Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Yep. You have Paul do all the talking, Lesnar goes in and just destroys people and prints money.
I also would not be surprised if she possibly signed with All Elite Wrestling because she has done a few, she did a StarCast convention for Double or Nothing. So
that's a possibility.
I could definitely see that as a possibility because definitely if you are All Elite Wrestling, that is a like name there, and you definitely need to build some steam up with that women's division. So I'm like, who knows, but like, for me personally, I feel she's going to stay into MMA,
mm-hmm.
and I think I am predicting she's going to be signed with Bellator. Now, I believe she has a 3-month where with the UFC they have strict negotiation rights for like 90 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but after that she can pretty much go wherever that she wants. But I have seen no indication whatsoever that any of that is going to change anytime soon when it comes to Chris Cyborg.
There's a couple fights you wanted to talk about too, right?
Definitely for this weekend. Probably the winner of this probably is facing Kamaru Usman for the UFC welterweight title. And this fight is between Colby Covington versus Robbie Lawler. This is going to be a very interesting fight. I'm not really confident who's going to really win this. Colby hasn't fought, I believe, in like 16 months. His last fight was against Rafael dos Anjos. He was supposed to fight Woodley a few times, but just with injuries, and on top of that, Colby really pissed off Dana, so that pretty much cost him a title fight. And now with Robbie, he is still a really competitive fighter, even at his current age. So it's like, can Colby Covington withstand Robbie's power? And two, I'm not sure if that same strategy with Colby is going to work against like Lawler, which is constant pressure, just because even at like his age, Robbie still has insane power. We even saw that when like he fought Askren, like he brought that fire with him, and like and to a lot of people, a lot of fans feel that he definitely got robbed in that fight, and that they unfairly ended that fight. So it's going to be very interesting, but I do feel that probably the winner of this probably fights Usman, or it could be just if like Colby wins, he's definitely is getting that fight, because still there is like George Masvidal. He's still, I think personally he should be that guy to fight Usman. It should be a very fun fight, but that's really the only fight for this weekend that I am really looking at. And just to recap, Max Holloway, he defeated Frankie Edgar via unanimous decision to retain his featherweight title. Max is by far the greatest men's featherweight of all time. He has been Aldo on 2 separate occasions. Just every single fight, man. Max you just see guys on faces. I mean, like you recall when he fought Brian Ortega, and Ortega's face is complete. He looks like something not of this world. Like that was one of the old time beatings. Like the only
that was a beat down.
Just the only other face who I saw was probably worse was when Rory McDonald's face when he had that war with Robbie Lawler, which that is by some is like marked as one of the greatest fights of all time. But like just like Max is just such a technical striker. He has such great takedown defense. And now he's probably fighting Alexander Volkanovski. There's talk about possibly having that over in Australia, and being as a co-main event for the UFC there, which as of currently the main event for that show is Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya for the middleweight title. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with him there, and also for as it goes for like Frankie Edgar. I personally feel that he should probably move down another weight, possibly at 135 pounds. I feel like there are so many fights for him down there, possibly against like Dominic Cruz, against Cody Garbrandt. Henry Cejudo possibly down the line. So I definitely feel I think he is too small for the for the true contenders at 145 pounds. So I feel that's probably within his best interest as he goes into his later 30s here. So we'll see where that goes as well.
Anything else on the UFC? I think that's it.
Yeah,
you want to talk about the big
that
stuff out of that.
Yeah.
I really don't have anything else to talk about. Anything? Any big news stories?
Yeah. Just like one thing. AEW.
Oh yeah, that's right. AEW.
They have announced 2 matches.
For their TV debut.
Yeah, for their TV taping. So as of right now, Cody Rhodes will be facing Sammy Guevara, who I'm seeing. He was on the pre-show for Double or Nothing, and also that was announced was a 6-man tag between Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus Chris Jericho and two mystery partners, which I mean, like, 2 teams popped up in my head instantly. First being LAX, who are a former Impact tag team. Their contracts are now, or I believe they are, expiring within the next month or so. So they're a possibility, and I would also not be surprised if they possibly try and do Enzo and Cass here. I really wonder if AEW might try something in saying like that, just for a big surprise on the opening TV taping. But I'm not really confident in
those two.
Yeah, and I feel that with LAX, I don't feel like that they would that they're really not well known enough. So I really have no idea who those mystery partners could possibly be.
Yeah, I don't have a clue. That's building anticipation. I can't wait.
I would imagine as we get closer and closer,
more rumors.
Yeah, and I believe that there probably are going to be announcing a tag team tournament, because I believe that was one of the things that Tony Khan stated that they're going to be doing once they begin with their weekly TV, which is quickly coming up because tomorrow is indeed August 1st. So we're
2 more months.
Yeah, we're only two more months from
crazy.
for this highly anticipated show, man. Like this company has just been building for the last 8 months now. So we'll see what happens, but I am very much am looking forward to it.
Me too, and I believe most of the professional wrestling fans are.
Yep.
With that, I think we're pretty much done here for this week's episode.
Yeah,
we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, like this was definitely a much longer podcast than I thought that it was going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of opinions, a lot of stuff to talk about. With that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'd like to hear feedback on the shows. Any feedback at all is welcome, good or bad. John, any last words?
As like Matt said, like the video, subscribe and also ring that bell to get notifications for any future videos. And we shall be back next week.
Again, we're going to try to have an episode out every weekend, at least one every weekend.
Yep.
Maybe throw in a second one for a big show. So we'll see you next week. Have a good day.